66 million years ago, a 10-kilometer sphere of rock and iron fell toward Earth. But imagine a slight alteration in its trajectory. A gentle nudge from a passing comet millions of years earlier pushes the rock just enough to miss the shallow coastal waters of the Yucatan, sending it plunging harmlessly into the deep Pacific. The dinosaurs would have woken up the next morning to a world shaken by distant tsunamis, but entirely intact. Their 165 million-year dominance over the planet's forests and swamps simply continued, uninterrupted. That is a stark departure from the history recorded in the Earth's crust. In our reality, this thin, dark band of clay marks the exact boundary where the Mesozoic era ended. Within the geological instant captured by this single layer of rock, 3/4 of all plant and animal species vanished. Every dinosaur larger than a house cat was wiped out. Because of that sudden disappearance, it's tempting to view dinosaurs as evolutionary failures, cold-blooded reptiles that were merely waiting to be replaced by faster, smarter mammals. But the facts suggest otherwise. Dinosaurs were the ultimate biological machines, and it took a literal cosmic anomaly to break their grip on the planet. To see why they were so dominant, we have to look at how they breathed. A mammalian lung operates on a two-way street, mixing fresh, oxygen-rich air with stale air on every breath. But dinosaurs utilized a system of unidirectional airflow. Air moved in a continuous one-way loop, extracting far more oxygen with every single breath. This efficiency, combined with weight-saving hollow bones, allowed them to grow to sizes mammals simply cannot match. A pregnant 50-ton mammalian herbivore is a biomechanical impossibility, but the dinosaur body plan scaled up to fill every megafauna niche with ease. This biological supremacy is exactly why our mammalian ancestors spent 150 million years trapped in the shadows. We were locked into small, nocturnal, or subterranean roles because the dinosaurs were vastly superior at being large. But dodging an asteroid wouldn't grant them a permanent paradise. Over the next 66 million years, the warm, stable greenhouse world of the Mesozoic would collapse into an era of violent climate shifts and drifting continents. The real test of this alternate timeline is whether the biological machines that ruled the tropics could survive the Earth itself turning against them. By the Miocene epoch, roughly 23 million years ago, the global hothouse was dying. Temperatures dropped, rainfall decreased, and the endless forests began withering away. In their place, a highly aggressive new plant colonized the plains: grass. Grass is a biological nightmare for a plant eater. It grows from the base rather than the tip, making it almost impossible to kill by grazing. Worse, its tissues are packed with microscopic particles of silica that grind down teeth like sandpaper. To process this abrasive fuel, the horned dinosaurs, the ceratopsians, had to adapt. They evolved complex, ever-growing dental batteries, allowing them to graze indefinitely while simply growing new teeth to replace the ones they wore down. But grazing on open plains meant they could no longer hide. Like the bison of our timeline, these dinosaurs were forced to form massive protective herds, relying on thousands of eyes to spot threats across the horizon. By conquering the toughest plant on Earth, the dinosaurs proved they didn't need a static environment to maintain their dominance. This shift to the open plains created a crisis for predators. On a flat grassland, its 6-ton bulk could be seen from miles away, making stealth impossible. A massive ambush predator like Tyrannosaurus rex relied on forest cover to strike. To survive, the Tyrannosaur lineage had to slim down. Over millions of years, they traded brute mass for leaner bodies and longer, sprinter-like legs designed for sustained pursuit. A lighter predator cannot bring down a giant herd animal alone. These lean tyrannosaurs would have evolved highly coordinated wolf-like pack behaviors, working in perfect unison to isolate and overwhelm prey that no single individual could kill. This move from solitary giants to social, strategic killers highlights evolution's preference for efficiency and cooperation over raw individual power. The ultimate trial arrived 2.5 million years ago with the onset of the Pleistocene. The planet's thermostat plunged, burying the northern continents under kilometers of ice during recurring, brutal glacial cycles. Dinosaurs possessed a secret weapon against the cold: gigantothermy. Their massive physical bulk acted as a biological furnace, retaining core heat so effectively that they could endure temperatures that would freeze a smaller animal solid. Combined with feathers that originally evolved for basic warmth, natural selection would produce dense, insulating down. The result would be shaggy, 9-ton woolly ceratopsians, perfectly adapted for life in a frozen wilderness. In our timeline, mammals filled these roles because the dinosaurs weren't there to block them. But in this world, the mammoth never got its chance. Surviving the deep freeze proved that dinosaurs were capable of ruling any biome on Earth, completely locking mammals out of the surface world. If we could see this alternate Earth today, we would find a wild, unpolluted planet where massive dinosaurs still reign. There are no cities, no roads, and no humans. There's a popular idea that if dinosaurs had survived, they would have eventually evolved to look like us, upright, city-building humanoids. But that assumes human intelligence is the goal of evolution. Our consciousness was not an inevitability, but a highly specific fluke. It required our primate ancestors to be forced out of the trees and onto the African savanna, where a very specific set of pressures drove our brains to expand. Without those exact conditions, a highly evolved dinosaur would still look like a dinosaur. They might be as clever as a modern crow, but they would have no biological reason to build technology or wonder about their place in the cosmos. Evolution is a process of adaptation, not a ladder leading to us. We exist only because a rock hit the right spot at the right time. The dinosaurs were the rule. We are the cosmic accident.